And women love confidence. There's nothing more confident than coming up to a girl, slapping her on the ass, and picking her up and spinning her around. Nothing more than that.
Stealing her cigarette, stubbing it out.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No.
I don't condone violence against women. Hey, look who it is. What's this? All right, guys, we're going to go out into the wild, and we're going to try to pick up a lovely young broad that just got in. Okay, here she is in her natural environment, the kitchen. She's wearing her El Chapo jacket, very nice. Oh, she brought me a cake? Can I see it?
No, you're gonna mess
Come
it up.
on.
Can't open it.
See, when you run tight game, these thoughts, they come home and they bring you cake. See, I could touch her, I could slap her, do what I want. She's mine, that's my woman right there. Bringing me cake. What else is this?
No.
All right, let's get back to the Manosphere. I just realized this place probably looks totally different since the last video. We got rid of the red curtains. We got tan ones now. What else is different? Oh, we have this beautiful painting of Leroy. Oh, you guys gotta see Emma's latest painting. That is a masterpiece. That's gonna be worth millions. I think this is new. This is new. This one is called Slutty Japanese Pear.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, buddy.
Let's point each other.
You wanna do it? This is episode 3 of the Manosphere Series. I'm joined here by my good friend, New Yorker, Willie G.
Willie Gerritz, that's my name. Some people call me Vilmos.
Some people call him Gabor, and they call me Attila.
Yeah.
And we're the Budapest Bros.
That we are. So what are we talking about today?
Okay, so a year and a half ago, we did the Manosphere episode 2.
Oh my God, it goes like this.
You thirsty?
Yeah.
This guy ran here. Anyway, yeah, last video was about... Fuck, we just watched the...
Oh yeah, the last video was like, well, the first one you told me about was the plate theory thing.
Yeah, that was the first one. Plate
Basically
theory saved my marriage.
Spinning plates in like restaurants in Greece, and they fall, and the guys just keep going,
And then they keep spinning them, yeah, and you gotta keep them going.
So that was your introduction to this topic about like red pill masculinity and things to do with that nature?
Red Pill Masculinity.
The Manosphere is essentially a way to talk about issues that have to do with masculinity in like an open environment with like full honesty.
Right, exactly. That's what we want. We want man issues, not politically correct.
But you're not necessarily taking one side or the other. You're just putting the issues out on the table and explaining how you feel about them.
We're just being honest with the issues, you know?
Yeah.
We're not holding back.
Well, you've actually introduced me to a lot of these topics over the past year in a subtle form of gradual
a little bit
indoctrination.
here and there. Oh, are you fully indoctrinated yet?
I would say that I have a pretty resistant hive, but I think that there's certain things that have been illuminating, and you the way that you talk about these issues is in a very critical perspective, and it's not necessarily trying to just be like, oh, like fucking men are the best. It's just more like trying to state bioevolutionary reality.
Exactly. But good, we have a skeptic here, so he's not fully
I wouldn't say that I'm a full-on skeptic. I don't know if I subscribe in my own life to some of the beliefs that you...
So what about this plate theory belief? Do you think men should have multiple women in their lives, aka plates?
Oh, that's what the plate theory is?
Yeah, the plate theory is that you have so many other women that you don't give one woman a lot of attention, and that makes you more attractive. All right, so we had play theory. That was the first one. Then we did love versus game. Did I show you that? I showed you some of that.
A little bit.
So love versus game, that was like a balancing act of loving a woman, but also like gaming her as if she's a new girl. Because once you lose that, you know, flirtatious vibe, it gets stale and the attraction wanes.
Okay.
If you're in a relationship, Willie's in a long-term relationship with a woman.
Yeah, that's true. Alexa,
So,
I love you.
Don't watch this. I hope you don't see this. But what do you think about that? Do you think you should go out and flirt with other women?
If you can control yourself and keep it to like...
Keep it in your pants?
Keep it to flirtation, I think it's a little bit healthy to have both partners flirt a little bit.
Oh, you think you want your girlfriend flirting with other guys, Willie?
It's nice to know that other guys are maybe attracted to her.
Yes.
So that is something that I think, just as like the men is gaming the woman, I think the woman can maybe use to her advantage to game the man. I will say that like yeah, if it went further than that, I probably wouldn't be okay with it.
So you're here to be about fairness and equality. I appreciate that. You give a fresh perspective to the topic.
I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily trying to preach fairness and equality for equality and fairness' sake. I'm more just
your personal relationship.
Yeah, my personal
to be fair.
feelings about the relationship are to have certain things be fair, but there's also no denying that certain things end up being unfair for both people. I think men sometimes have a tendency to want to have more sexual partners, whereas women might have a tendency to want to have one really good sexual partner.
Evolutionarily speaking, because we are a product of evolution, in the past, men were spreading their seed, and that paid off better. It's all about DNA just replicating itself.
But do you think for the man, maybe it's better to be secure with the woman and for his long-term health?
Monogamy, yeah, that's a recent invention by humans.
But I mean, not in the sake of putting a seed out there and like having his line continue, but for his personal life. Like once he becomes at the age of a seed spreader, let's say.
That's our new gang.
He wants to spread his seed as far as possible. But is that really for the best chance of his long-term survival?
No, because, he could die doing that. It's dangerous to be putting your dick in all these different people. I think biologically our animal brain wants us and directs our behavior to spread our seed. But our conscious mind, our logical, rational cortex part of our brain can override that animal instinct because we know it's better for the long term to keep your dick in your pants.
Okay. And it's probably better for the children also to
of course.
Be in a healthy, stable relationship with two parents rearing them.
Yeah, but it's just about what we decided as a culture and society and what our animal brains evolved to do. What's up?
I'm gonna go walk my animals.
I'm an animal.
Let's go.
And then what wasn't one of the things you want to talk about today was specifically the issue of divorce courts, no?
Oh yeah, okay, so divorce courts. Speaking of divorce, babe, leave right now. My own wife wanted to divorce me recently. Good thing that didn't work out. I didn't know it was so easy. Babe, didn't you just go online and start filling out some forms and it would have been that quick?
It's only easy because we have no debts or properties, so it's very
it's easier for us.
You have pets though. Those are like children.
We have pets.
They're not human children.
It's easy to divorce if you have no disputes. Well, as soon as there's disputes, then you have to bring lawyers in. It gets very pricey.
So the men have been cucked.
The men are being cucked, yes, that as well. I just had to explain to my friend what cuck means. What does it mean to you?
Well, the traditional term of cuckolded
Cuckoldry
was in the medieval times, and the men that had been cheated on by their wives would have to put horns on their head and run around the village, basically signifying that they have been cuckolded.
Yeah.
And
that's hilarious.
You became the town cuckold if you were the guy that had the horns on your head.
I don't get why any logical male growing up would enter into a marriage. He benefits nothing, and he could be totally fucked in every possible way if things go bad. So marriage has become this construct that's completely unequitable. It's totally all in the favor of the woman when the man is making most of the money, which is usually the case.
So why do you think the men are entering the marriages? Because of just societal familial pressure?
Tradition and just pressure from society.
Or you eventually get married because all of your friends were getting married and it's almost expected of you.
It's expected, and the woman expects it. A girl, if you're dating a woman for years and you don't propose to her, she's probably gonna leave. She wants to tie you down and be in that marriage contract. Youth and beauty is the biggest commodity on the planet, and if you're a young, beautiful woman, you want to trade in your youth and beauty for real financial stability and something concrete. And the way they do it is through marriage. So a young, beautiful woman marries a man with money and assets, and that's how she trades her youth and beauty for resources.
I think that kind of makes sense. But I would say that there also is a lot of people out there that are less material minded. I guess.
Well, I don't think any woman out there is young and pretty and consciously is thinking, how am I going to trade in my youth and beauty for some money?
Yeah.
Some women are overt and blatant about that, but I think it's more subconsciously, and like it's not like on an individual basis. It's more like a human nature thing, you know. Like women in general are doing this sort of strategy.
No, that could be true, but it could also just be they want to trade in their, let's say, youth and beauty for a partner that makes them feel good about themselves.
Because women don't feel good all the time. Their emotions are constantly fluctuating. So I feel like they really require a man to sort of ground them. And like you're supposed to be unmovable, unchangeable, so that you can regulate those mood swings and crazy emotions. And that's a huge benefit that men provide women that's not
reciprocated?
Financial.
Oh, financial, yeah. I think it is reciprocated though, because I will say I felt a lot more grounded, and maybe not mood swings is the wrong term for it.
Well, women's hormones are constantly like their cycle. They're getting more estrogen or more. What's the other one? There's like 3 of them that regulate their mood and stuff, and they're always changing. Like before a period, after a period. When a woman says something like "I hate you" or "I love you," I don't know, anything, you always have to think in your head right now, because whatever she's saying, she feels that way right now. It never lasts. It's gonna change like tomorrow. You never want to be emotionally reactive to a woman's mood, because just know that it's gonna pass like the weather.
Like the weather. That's rather poetic.
Yeah.
Except in London, it's always rainy there.
To the weather.
The man needs to like ground the woman and have like a solid stoic rock when she is emotional. That may be very well true, but the woman also needs to be there for the man if he's going through a tough time or if he's feeling depressed. And the old attitude of like, oh, he should just man up, I think that's kind of bullshit also.
Well, I have to disagree with you on this part, because I really do think that's your duty as a man, is to not be emotional. And if you of course you're going to experience emotions, but it's your sort of duty to just man up and not let that affect your actions, and not let it affect your judgment and your drive and what you're doing. And if you need to, everyone needs to let emotions out. That's why we have male friends. Mm-hmm. Let your emotions out with your guy friends. Don't do it with a woman. If you do it with a woman, it's just gonna ruin the sexual dynamic.
Okay.
Because I feel like in order to have sexual attraction, you need polarity. You need one person to be masculine, it can be the man or the woman, and one person to be feminine. And those things create attraction. Uh-huh. So if your woman's feminine and you're being feminine, then there can't be any sexual attraction. So yeah, go out in the woods and scream out your feelings, but definitely I wouldn't like want to be coddled by a woman that I want to have sex with. If you don't want to have sex with a woman, please cry on her shoulders, let it all out.
I will say that there's probably, I would agree with you that probably, if you're being honest about it, 90% of women are more attracted to a man that is like stoic and masculine. But yeah, if you're a guy and you want to have a better chance at maybe securing a sexual partner, if you're single,
or keeping one, if you're in a relationship,
it might be better to be a little bit more on the masculine side. But I think it's also falsely amplified through social media that like the culture is really like super hyper feminine and all this stuff. I think a lot of this is fueled by this like constant outrage, Twitter article nonsense, where I don't know if people actually deep down, if you ask them honestly, if they actually feel like that.
No, I don't think people honestly, I think people know like what it is naturally. And I am constantly just being myself, and if it means offending people, I don't care. And if you own it, like I'll go up to some girls and just be a super asshole-ish type character, just take their cigarettes and just like be mean to them. And all the guys around are like, whoa, what are you doing, man? You have to respect the girls, you have to respect the women. And if I don't back down, if I'm just like, I don't care what they're saying and I continue with what I'm doing, those men that said that were outraged, they will completely flip a 180, respect me, and then even like agree with me that it's okay to act like an asshole.
Right, but you're also like an authentic, well-meaning person 90% of the time. So I wouldn't say that like you are analogous to some fucking dickhead that is also taking the girl's cigarette and just doing it because he wants to show his dominance. Whereas I feel like you're doing it because
and I do it in a playful way.
Yeah. Right.
But people see it as, oh, you have to be nice to women and respect. No, you don't. As long you don't have to be nice to women and respect them.
But you also your actions come from a background of like actually being a nice guy, Or not necessarily a nice guy, but just being like a good person. Whereas I don't trust everyone to take this advice necessarily and apply it in the right way.
Okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying. So if you're literally a fucking douchebag and you're angry, then then definitely don't act that way.
But if you're a nice guy,
if you're a nice guy, be an asshole. Just take it, slap them on the ass, take their cigarette. They'll love it. They will love it. All right, man, let's wrap this up.
So, you got any closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts on gynocentrism and feminist society.
I gotta say, I never in my life heard that term gynocentrism. It's great.
It's a thing. It's in the book, Rational Male. Read it, guys.
I gotta read this.
Play theory's in there. It's all
Play theory.
Oh, I fucking gave it to my neighbor because he was being such a little bitch, and I was like, bro, here, read this book. It'll change your life. My number one advice is to just lift heavy weights. That's literally, it's so simple. Anyone can do it. Just go to your gym, lift heavy weights, and if you do that enough, everything will fall into place. Your testosterone will raise, and you'll be tired and sore, so you won't really care so much about stuff going on around you. And yeah, you'll just be better with women if you lift. You'll be more attractive, you'll have muscles. So yeah, that's my advice to all the young men out there having trouble with women. Just lift things. Lift heavy. Lift the girls. Lift them up. Carry them. Throw them around.
My biggest advice is if you're trying to decide between one thing to say or another when you're talking to a girl, know that it's already too late. You should already just have been talking and just carried out a conversation and pretend that it's anyone else, because there's no need to get like psyched out if you're talking to a girl or an attractive girl.
It's confident to psych yourself out. And women love confidence. There's nothing more confident than coming up to a girl, slapping her on the ass, and picking her up and spinning her around. Nothing more than that.
Stealing her cigarette, stubbing it out.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No.
I don't condone violence against women. These videos are important because I just saw a fucking criminal investigation psychology video of like this guy who ran over a bunch of people in Toronto with a van. And the reason why he did it is because he's an incel, which for people who don't know is an involuntary celibate. And there's a whole community of these people, and they're just mad at the world because they can't get laid. And I'm convinced that this is like 100% of the school shooters. Everyone's making fun of them, girls reject them, and they just feel so rejected that they want to lash out and be violent.
Well, it's probably that coupled with like a lot of loneliness that stems from a society that's like laden with social media and just like...
But why are they lonely? They're lonely because they don't know how to behave with the opposite sex.
I think that's a great thing to talk about on the episode 4 of the Manosphere.
Next episode, how to not be an incel and go on a murder spree. Episode 4.
The rise and fall of the American incel. An investigative story.
All right, Budapest Bros coming soon. Thank you, Willie. My man. I think the thumbnail for this should be us at the Gay Pride Parade. That'll get some extra views. All right, buddy. Egga shega this to that. Great beers. Charlie Firpo.
This guy is definitely not an incel. He's a harem.
He's fucking bitches. He's got like 10 bitches and 2 wives and 3 mistresses.
Yeah.